Thanks there to the Newsline team, and this is Jonathan Marks with a warm welcome to the last in our series, Saturday Stage. Tonight it's the turn of broadcasters to be in the limelight. And what a performance.
And now, hang on to your headphones. Best of the Worst. A cautionary tale of communications presented by... what's his name?
Hello there. I'm sure that at some stage you've switched on the radio and found a really terrible piece of broadcasting. Worse still, if a tape recorder's been running, you can record the event for posterity. Or you might decide to get into the broadcasting game yourself and become a station manager. In principle, broadcasting is, of course, quite simple. You sit in a soundproof room and try to sound natural towards a large metal object in front of you. That, of course, takes some training.
Hi, I'm Ron Pentecost. You know, friends say to me, Ron, how can I tell if I'm that lucky candidate who qualifies for that fast-paced, high-paying, everybody-likes-me kind of life you call the wonderful, wacky world of radio announcing? And I say to them, dear friends, what I'll say to you right now. Today's announcers have natural voices, typical of most of us, but you know you're not born with that special ability. Oh, no. The ability to breathe life into words, to give meaning to your sponsor's message. Here's an urgent message. So you don't forget, order before midnight tomorrow. A sincere message. Offer void where prohibited by law. An authoritative message. Substantial interest penalty for early withdrawal. Interested in this kind of life? Of course you are. So write today for a free brochure to the Ron Pentecost School of Radio Announcing, Post Office Box 17, Pacoima. Not affiliated with Columbia School of Broadcasting, Columbia Broadcasting System, or anybody else.
Having got a team of trained personnel together, you have to decide what your station's going to broadcast. Will it be serious music, pop, or perhaps religion? Most stations have some sort of news department, though. Picture a large, smoke-filled room. Fluorescent lights glare from the ceiling, and red-eyed journalists, still sleepy from the previous night shift, try to contact their correspondents around the world to see what's going on. Their first obstacle is usually the phone company.
The overseas operator for the Soviet Union, please.
What country is that located, sir?
Having determined what country he's in, the correspondent gets ready to file a story, live in a transmission.
One gets the firm impression that the intervention of the army was a... Oh, fiddlestick. Sorry, that's my bleeper telling me somebody's...
And let's hope the correspondent isn't in a payphone either.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
I just heard some sort of buzz there. I wasn't sure if I was or not. It happened to us before, you might remember.
Right.
At any rate, that's the way it wound up. And
I beg your pardon. 5 cents, please, for the next 5 minutes.
George, are you with me?
I'm with you, Pat.
Got the operator, too.
When that happens, of course, you need somebody back in the main studio to react quickly and keep the continuity going.
And let's see what we've got on our little list here. In fact, I have a vast pile of paper, and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, which isn't altogether unusual for me, but one moment I'll be with you. Yes, well, let's see. We have a... Yes, I think, look, we have a little bit of music while I sort myself out, because this could be rather embarrassing if I carry on rustling paper like this. Music, please.
Well, on the other hand, a correspondent may not be aware he's on the radio.
Here's the news, a wink is a wink, for all you people who don't want to think.
Good morning. Emery King is at the White House this morning. Emery, has the White House more or less set the stage to scrap the trip?
Hey, how do I know, Connie? Okay. Oh, my God. I'm very sorry, Connie. Good morning. The White House has obviously kept a very close eye on the situation in the Philippines.
The newsreader, though, has a very difficult job. He or she has to read the text as convincingly as possible, without colouring the content in any way.
And now here's the latest on the Middle East crisis. Lesbian forces today attacked Israel. I beg your pardon, that should be Lebanese.
Last January the 1st, I spotted somebody on the international broadcasting bands desperately trying to read the news, obviously, I think, with a thundering hangover.
NATO may also abrogate its sanctions against Poland and the Soviet Union. NATO sources said that officials may discuss that prospect at a session of the Council due to be held during the next few days.
And what a marvellous choice of music afterwards. Even when you are alert and trying to concentrate, there's always that name looming up somewhere in the text with the awkward pronunciation.
Even as troops battled with stray Sikh snipers inside the Golden Temple last Friday to snuff out the last of the extremist resistance, an unexpectedly new battlefront opened up in Ganganagar. Is that right? Couldn't read my own writing there.
That, of course, was recorded, and the final version was perfect. But a common error is to begin reading, then mess it up, and start all over again. Of course, the recording engineer will notice this and cut out the mistake at the beginning, before it's broadcast.
It's thought that Maulana Maududi has been acting as a link with the PNA for an Shit. I am deaf in the top. I think I said leader instead of leaders anyway. Okay.
Well, we're sorry for that interruption to that report from Maulana Maududi. It was read in the studio.
It also makes us foul-tempered. There are more... Bloody hell. It also makes us foul-tempered. There are more wife-beatings, punch-ups and general aggressiveness. It also makes us foul-tempered. There are more wife-beatings, punch-ups and general aggressiveness when the sun comes out than at any other time.
I wonder what he did after that recording. I suppose I must be known as Mr. Edit around here. If you make a mistake, then you normally repeat the phrase and splice everything neatly together afterwards. Providing, of course, you don't forget later. It's a bit of a cat-and-mouse situation at the moment because the receiver companies are waiting for stations to take single sideband seriously because before they make special shortwave receivers. All the examples we're giving you today are genuine, taken off the air as broadcast, except this next one, to show you the power of the editing block. Take a few recorded items of news, read by a rather official-sounding newsreader, and give the tape to a recording engineer for some monkey business. You could end up with this.
The headlines this evening. Butchers have called on the government to stop the British Steel Corporation. The Foreign Office say that negotiations with Turkey to repatriate Downing Street have failed. The negotiations with Turkey over the repatriation of the Prime Minister have failed. The Foreign Office has said that, in spite of prolonged and sincere efforts on both sides, no way round the legal impasse had been found which would allow Turkey to return to Britain, the government serving a 6-year sentence for drug offences.
See what I mean? It's frightening what can be done with a splicing block. Back, of course, to reality, and after a long, serious item, be careful not to let your feelings really show.
Before the elections are held and all bets are off. And they're off. And it's a big nose there out in the front there, and Cabbage is very close to the patch now. Oh, I'm going home now.
And there's the clue to the world's worst enemy of the radio announcer, the laugh. Once it starts, it's very difficult to stop. And it happens to anyone, of course, whatever language. Whether it be a German-speaking presenter who suddenly becomes amused by the weird interview he's just had to introduce.
Das ist eine große Frechheit, denn manchmal sitze ich auch drin und ich bin keiner, glaube ich.
Das Gespräch führte Lore Müller. Am Donnerstag wird der von Apfelschimmeln gezogene Thespis Karm des Salzburger Straßentheaters zum ersten Mal im diesjährigen Festspielsommer ausfallen. Wenn das Wetter mitspielt, wird die Premiere der Posse Tritsch-Tratsch von Johann Nestor in Anwesenheit des Bundespräsidenten im Lehener Park versichert.
Pressing the cough switch doesn't help him there. Or what about the technician pulling a funny face whilst one of our attractive Dutch presenters links after a serious cultural programme?
En daarmee eindigt Context. Ja, dit heb ik laat op de avond.
It happens to us all. News, of course, has its different departments, like the traffic news, very important in the Netherlands, where there's frequent congestion in the rush hours.
De volgt... Pardon. De volgt verkeersinformatie.
But woe betide the person who just reaches for a traffic report without checking it first.
A heavy vehicle is still blocking the B6265 Grassington to Paisley Bridge at Grimworth Road. The A59 York to Harrogate at Whitley Arctic over part of the carriageway open alternating traffic, an hour delay. A driver slightly hurt. He was taken, the accident took place when the lorry fell, a part fell off the lorry.
Some people can see typing mistakes before they fall into the trap.
Finally, the weather forecast. Many areas will be dry and warm with some sunshine. It actually says shoe shine on my script, so with any luck you might get a nice light tan.
Now, in many countries, local radio stations ring up the Weather Bureau for the forecast. You can often dial it yourself. But a few days ago in California, you got this very strange reply, as one of our listeners discovered.
Keep the needle in the green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Test, 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 test. Goodbye.
Well, there you have it from San Francisco. The weather today is green.
Yuck. But Dutchmen sometimes have difficulty with Greek names in the weather forecast.
Alexandropolis, ja, nog een keer weer. Alexandropolis, min 3 graden vanmiddag.
Whilst there are a few Dutch cities that confuse the Anglo-Saxon tongue.
Oogstgeest.
Scheveningen. I give up.
Well, this newsreader had to give up altogether when his nose started to tickle.
En nu moet ik echt gaan niezen.
So far, we've dealt with human error, but in your radio station, you should check out the studio as well. If the presenter is wearing headphones, make sure they're switched on so you can hear the signature tune.
Dit is Veronica Nieuwsradio.
Goedemiddag. Oh, dat is al ja. Ja, goedemiddag. Hier zijn de, wacht even. Hier are the main points. Uit een plan dat... Oh, we zijn begonnen. We zijn echt begonnen. Goedenavond, luisteraars. Dat komt voor mij als een totale verrassing. Wij zijn kennelijk op dit moment in de uitzending.
Check the bulb of the red recording light, that it hasn't burnt out, so that the presenter isn't on the air unexpectedly.
Anyway, the Scot leans over to the bartender and shouts back, "What'd you do that for?" And the old guy replied, "What? No, it's okay, my light's not on." "Oh, we are on." This morning at 11 o'clock, you can hear a special program for all of you interested
Don't you know that everybody is a radio receiver? All you gotta do is listen for the call. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on.
Turn your radio on, and also everything else in the broadcasting chain.
One of my choices this coming Monday, for that reminds me, was inspired by ex-president... I bet the microphone's not on.
Yes, it was. Check that you've cleaned the needle on the record player, or you could get this. Better scratch that one, and ensure that the cleaners know that you're busy in the studio. Now, next on Media Network, we have John Campbell's clandestine column. Oh, hang on, who's this? Ja, wacht even, we zijn bezig hier met een opname. You're strongly advised to find a quiet place to make an interview.
Now, I wonder if I could ask you ladies, if I could start off by giving me a brief description about what this show is about after the aeroplane has gone past.
And then we will go into the third or fourth schedule, which you have seen in our program, or transmission schedule.
I can hear some police in the background there. It
Yes,
sounds quite
they might destroy the whole tape.
That was, of course, pre-recorded. But the telephone is a good source of problems in live programmes, too.
The
Finally, Councillor Talbot, aren't you leaving yourself open to being accused of being a kind of killjoy council, not wanting people to go to the bingo halls if they want to enjoy themselves?
Could you repeat that, please?
No, I'm sorry, I can't repeat it, actually. We haven't got time. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Hello? Do we have a listener on this line?
Yes, we do.
Good. If you'd like to tell me your first name, we can go.
Well, I'm trying to get off, actually.
How do you mean?
Well, this is a public call box and I'm trying to get a line.
I misunderstand you. Did you want to talk to us on the programme?
No, I don't.
Swapping words around is all too easy in live radio.
3 American space scientists say a primitive form of life probably exists on the planet Mars. Up till now, it's generally been believed the atmosphere there appeared incapable of supporting any living organism. Experiments conducted under simulated Martian conditions.
The president of Federated Bull Federated Farmers.
It proposed to construct a mezzanine of about 6,000 fair square.
Working in international broadcasting has its special pitfalls. If you have to speak in German, French or Dutch all day, your mother tongue starts to get influenced, and you invent a few words.
At Robs, on the Theier River, one of Austria's most significant trout streams, is a smallish 11th century castle that is certainly worth a mini tour. First of the worst.
I also want to know, how do you get beetroot out of a carpet?
Beetroot, well, we have something for that somewhere on file, I feel quite sure. Cover with slices of water soaked in bread.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Imagine if you turned up at a press conference in your country to meet the managing director of a company. You spring on him that you'd like to do the interview in Swedish, German or Russian. Well, here in Holland, most people, of course, speak Dutch, though we are fortunate in finding a lot of people willing to try English in front of our microphones. A lot of the interviews are, of course, recorded, because while you're trying to find the words in a foreign language, what do you say? All those bits of tape are cut out to improve the flow of an interview. But you can do little to change a voice, of course. This next example is an editor's nightmare. The speaker is trying to explain an abstract subject and is obviously not too clear in his own mind.
In the sense that there are different levels of development. There's a physical level, there's a biological level, there is primitive consciousness, there is more highly developed consciousness, there is spiritual consciousness, and so on. What he says, and what I would agree with, is that what was the question again?
That's nice. Well, people often criticise listener response programmes because the presenters don't sound interested. Well, this next parody originated from a US pirate station.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Science Today. I'm your host, William Kyle. Tonight we have an interesting and informative show with an interview with an inventor. But before that, I'd like to read you a letter which we received from a listener in Dublin, Ohio, Sven Gonzalez. He was writing in reference to last week's show on cork, and he writes, "Dear Sir, I'm writing to ask you just what you meant by having the basic shift linkages reach maximum capacity with only twice the frequency. According to your chart, this was to occur before the thermal reaction had completely reversed itself. When I tried it, I could not get the Atavachron off redline. Could you please clear this problem up for me?" Well, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, for writing in. We appreciate all letters we get, and of course, you're always welcome to write in again.
Other pirates, though, have technical problems.
Skyport Radio broadcasting to you on the 49-metre band, 6,230 kilohertz. At least I hope we are. We may not be. As I said before, the engineers are playing around with different frequencies because we're being jammed.
They've now disappeared from the airwaves. So did this live outside broadcast from Radio Luxembourg. The roadshow, you see, had been set up in the gardens of a large house, and the electricity supply for the broadcasting equipment connected to a lamp socket in the cellar. Of course, someone went down into the cellar during the broadcast to look for some wine and started fumbling for the light switch. There's nothing worse on radio than dead air. Mind you, sports commentators can chance their health too on occasion.
There's the bell for full time, so he plays it, and they send it out to Reddy, and Reddy kicks the ball out into touch, and it's Reddy in. And that's the ball hitting the broadcasting window, came right through on top of us, and we have the ball in the broadcasting box. But it also means that the game is at an end, and one moment, please, I've got to throw the ball out.
That happened in New Zealand, home to the radio classic perpetrated by British comedian Spike Milligan. He'd just been interviewed and was asked to wait while the newsreader, Hewitt Humphrey, came into the studio and read a short news summary. Spike thought he'd liven things up a bit.
Compiled by a Justice of the Peace, Mrs. Nancy Sutherland, the report condemns conditions in the cells at court as degrading and humiliating. Mrs. Sutherland says that conditions have not changed since 20 years ago, when 6,000 prisoners a year were handled. The number is now 40,000.
Let me out.
The Industrial Court has released its decision on a dispute between freezing companies and the Meat Workers Union, which resulted in several stoppages last month. The court said that the employer's application for conciliation was valid, and therefore the union's application should not be considered first.
Let me out. Let
Cabinet
me out.
will be looking at the Drivers' Federation case for a new award as a result of a meeting this morning between the Federation and the government. The leaders of the drivers' delegation, Mr. Ken Douglas, says there are anomalies so glaring in the present award that unless something's done, there's a likelihood of major disruption. And that's the news.
I think that newsreader gets the first prize for keeping a cool head. Some stations, of course, get their funds from advertisements. These can go wrong too, especially if your product name, that's been used for years, happens to sound the same as a major news item.
Well, you passed the audition, Gail, and we'd love to have you in the group, but, we got these costumes, you see. I mean, they look a bit, small for you, but if you can lose the weight, you're in.
Oh, I see.
OK, keep in touch.
Cheer up, Gail. You just need to go on a diet for a while. It's not as easy as that. I really find it difficult to cut down on food, so I can never stick to diets. Oh, I used to have the same problem till I discovered AIDS. AIDS? What are they? Well, AIDS take the edge off your appetite, so you don't want to eat so much. You just eat a couple of AIDS cubes before each meal. They're delicious too. My willpower could do with a bit of help. I'll give AIDS a try.
AIDS help you retrain your appetite, so it's easier for you to control your weight.
Rather ironic that, yet they soldier on with that same brand name. You might try a crazy contest to attract listenership, but don't go too far.
Somewhere roaming this great city of ours is Zork, the rabid dog. Taped to the belly of that dog is a new crisp $1,000 bill from K9 Radio. Yes, it's another K9 Kid Power Contest. The rules are simple. $1,000 to you if you grab the right rabid dog.
This must be the best parody, though, on the special record offers that hit the airwaves around the New Year period. Does this sound familiar?
Jesse Jeff Westchester has saddle sores, and he sings all about them on his hot new LP, simply entitled Saddle Sores.
My bottom hurts, but I'm riding on, 'cause I feel alright on the whole. Yeah, them saddle sores.
Saddle Sores by Jesse Jeff Westchester, another great effort to pass off country western as progressive music, where you'll hear songs of love.
I love her like a horse, but I can't find a saddle for her size. I mean a female horse, of course, but she's just a pony in disguise.
Plus, 10 more great songs.
10 more great songs in this album. 10 more great songs I do sing.
And another song.
Here's another song for you.
And and one that sounds like country blues.
And here is one that sounds like country blues.
Jesse Jeff Westchester, Saddle Sword. Living testimonial that country music sure is easy to sing.
Now to a total communications disaster. The Citizens Band rage swept Europe, only to fall flat on its face due to the overcrowding of the airwaves and the lack of privacy. Perhaps records like this one that appeared in the United Kingdom helped CB on its way, though, by assuming that users in Europe wanted to copy the United States.
Hello, rubber bandits. I hope I'm coming in loud and proud over your blessed event, whether you're in a pressure cooker or a pregnant roller skate. But if you're in a hole in the wall, perhaps we could continue this conversation over a road tar. Till then, I'm going down. 8s and other good numbers. Well, if the foregoing sounds completely unintelligible to you, all will come clear in the next few moments. This is Citizens Band Radio, designed for you, the motorist, to keep in constant touch with your fellow drivers on the road, or indeed with your home or office, if they are equipped with a base unit. Well, let's continue now with the phonetic alphabet. Now, you're well advised to recite the following and learn it. It is a very necessary facet of radio communications for a misheard spelling of a word or perhaps even a registration number relayed incorrectly of, say, a vehicle involved in a hit-and-run incident or a crime may have very serious consequences. This may be learned from the reference list accompanying this recording. A. Alpha. B. Bravo. C. Charlie. D. Delta.
Can you see Grandma reciting all that? Well, I threw that particular flexi-disc away. I ought to point out, though, that we're not trying to single out individuals or stations with bursts of the worst. Mistakes can happen in every country and every language, but naturally the English-speaking goofs only happen on stations that speak that language, like Radio Netherlands, for example, and some of our drama productions like The Hitchhiker's Guide to DXing.
And I got mugged on the way to the post office, so I never got it confirmed.
Oh, I thought I'd find you here. Oh, sorry, I got yours then now. Let me try it again. Well, someone has to take an interest in them.
Think of it as Fellini, that's what I do. Fellini. He has no clue as actors either what they're in, they just read the lines.
Radio players are like that. One thing you've got to get right, though, is the theme tune for a programme. In the early days of our programme Media Network, we picked a piece of electronic music and asked Pete Myers to say, Media Network, the weekly communications magazine introduced by Jonathan Marks. This was take one.
You shouldn't laugh. No! Listen, Marks, don't laugh. No, really. If you laugh... wait a minute. Listen, if you use this on the air, Marks, I'll screw you. Really. Wait a minute. What? Have you been recording that?
Yes, and we put it in the archives. Hope he's not listening today. Mind you, we are pretty serious here, because things could be worse in Radioland.
And now, the Banana Broadcasting incredibly concise 10-second news update.
In Washington, D.C., a new bill. In Montana, a baby eagle. In Texas, 2 people. Now this.
Bob's Car Wash is nice.
Finally, in Hawaii, a large volcano. More later.
Following the warning by the Basque separatist organization, ETA, that it's preparing a bombing campaign in Spanish holiday resorts, British terrorists have been warned to keep on their guard. I'm sorry, that should be British tourists have been warned to keep on their guard.
Looking for more radio mistakes? Simply stay tuned to the wacky world of wireless.
Where are you phoning from?
Our house.
Best of the Worst was produced and presented by Jonathan Marks, with assistance from René Adema, Rob Hirschkop, Peter Boss, and other recording technicians around the world who'd rather not be named.
Thanks there to the Newsline team, and this is Jonathan Marks with a warm welcome to our series Saturday Stage. You know, if it wasn't for quick-thinking technicians, I think half of the sound archives in Europe would have been erased by now. It's a sad fact that radio stations aren't very good at keeping samples of their output. Over 20 years ago, a British group of cabaret artists visited the Netherlands. They were Jonathan Adams, Heather Barbara, Teddy Green and Sheila Burnett. Having scored a big success with their first show, Going Dutch, they later returned with a second programme, which they called Back in Holland. At the time, this second show was recorded for Radio Netherlands by sound engineer Michel Plemper, who saved it for posterity. Even after all these years, the show contains elements which we think are sufficiently topical and funny.
Britain, we're told, must export to stay alive. Exports have got to thrive for chances to revive. So here I am in old Amsterdam with a brand new British version of an old familiar song. Common market, here we come with the most unusual export team that you have ever seen. Export 1. I'm Jonathan Adams. Export 2.
I'm Heather Barber.
Export 3. I'm Teddy Green. Export 4.
I'm Sheila Burnett.
And here we go again, about to do a show again. Our stage is small and not so very tall. Our space is cramped, but spirits won't be damped, 'cause we're back in Britain, being back in Holland again. We're back in Holland, here in old Amsterdam, doing our bit for Britain, selling a slice of British ham. We're back in Holland, we're going Dutch tonight. Hoping you like our samples, hoping you find our prices right. Though the common market's barred to us,
Thanks to you-know-who, what the heck can we do?
you're on the gold standard too. We're back in Holland, and we're all set to go. Hoping to bring us closer together, hoping you like our show.
Where shall we go?
We could go in this hotel here.
Oh, righto. Come on.
Hello. Excuse me. Yes, hello. Yes, I want a room and a wife for me and my bath, please. No, room and a bath, room and a bath for me and my wife, please.
I see, sir. Single or double, sir?
Single, double. A double room, yes. A double room, please. Double. There's two of us, you see. We want a double room. There's two of us. We're married, honestly. And we'd like a...
Right, well, can I have your name then, please,
yes,
sir?
Smith and Miss Potts. Smith Potts. Smith-Potts. One of the old Smith-Potts family of England. Very famous family, you know. Oh, yes, we're very well known.
Are you sure you're married, sir?
Yes, I'm certain of it. Absolutely positive I'm married. Been married for years. Days. Hours. That's it. We're on our honeymoon.
Oh, well, can I see your licence, please?
I don't drive.
I mean your marriage licence.
Oh, marriage licence. Yes, marriage licence. Yes, I knew you'd ask for that. Now, there's a very good reason why I haven't got that. I wonder what it is. Oh, yes, I know. Yes, we were in such a hurry, you see, to get away from the reception, I left it behind. We're on our honeymoon and we want to get here.
I see, sir. Well, then you'll need the bridal suite, so that'll be $120.
Oh, no, nothing like that. No, sir. No, much cheaper. Simpler. Humbler. That's it, humble. Humble. We're very humble folk, you know. We're known in England as the humble Smith Potts. Yes, they say, get up off your knees, humble Smith Potts.
Look, how long do you want it for, sir?
About an hour. No, sorry.
There's something funny about Sir, I can't have this hotel being used for immoral activities.
Well, I should think not, my good man. I wouldn't be
So we
staying
have to
here
find
with
a
something
nice
like that, I
class
assure
hotel
you.
here, sir. We'll give you the benefit of doubt, sir, if you'll sign here.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you. I'll mention you to the VV and thingamabob. Thank you very much. Yes,
Have you got any luggage, sir?
Yes, I've got this one suit hand, hand kit. Oh, ow, oh, ow! Oh, dear. Yes, I know what you're thinking. And it isn't like that at all. No, as a matter of fact, I'm a travelling salesman in telephone directories. That's why the case is full of telephone directories, you see, because it's a very difficult job, I don't mind telling you. Yes, I think somebody must be going around and giving them away free or something. Nobody wants to buy one. It's very difficult. Well, look, thank you very much. Thank you for the room. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Room 29,
Yes,
second floor.
Thank you very much. Yes, well, thank you. That's very nice. Yes, Miss, dear, room 29. Yes, well, well, good night.
Good night, sir. Good night, Ethel.
Good night, Fred.
Push a button, push another button, 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 push a button, push another button,
Just relax,
push a button,
just
push
relax.
another button,
Take
push a
your
button, push another
time,
button,
just
push
relax,
a button,
just
push another button, push
Take
a
your
button, push another button.
Automation, you're really driving me insane. Automation, without an electronic brain. I'm sitting around all day like some kind of jerk, watching a stupid machine put me out of work. My vocation has absolutely gone to pot. A vacation, something all year round I got. You're getting so perfect, people just can't compete. Machines are making people obsolete.
Push a button, push.
Because you're
Self-driving, self-starting,
Self-propelling,
isn't it awful?
self-turning, self-sealing,
self-adjusting,
Should be unlawful.
self-feeding, self-operating.
actually on the
If
whole,
I don't get laid off,
Everything works by remote control.
I get paid off 15 years that it took to get my PhD. It appears that you got no future use for me. I have nothing to do but stand here and shift my feet. Machines are making people obsolete.
Push a button, push.
Because you're
Self-driving, self-rhyming,
self-directing,
maybe you're rusting.
self-feeding, self-turning,
self-injecting,
Simply disgusting.
self-stopping, self-adjusting.
haven't a heart or
Heard
soul.
somebody fidget.
Everything works by remote control.
With your digits, how I hate you, you super scientific gem. Who'd create you? Some nut who worked at IBM. You're making the tranquilizers that keep me calm. You're brushing my teeth and manufacturing the bomb. Your computers can sign my unemployment checks, choose my girlfriends, maybe even change my sex, produce what I wear and package the food I eat. Machines are making people, machines are making people, machines are making people obsolete.
There's been a great deal of success lately with a new kind of long-playing record, the participation record. For instance, we have had Sing Along with Mitch, Act along with Tallulah Bankhead, and Frighten Yourself to Death along with Boris Karloff. We think that in the future, this kind of record might be made to fulfill other functions, such as, for instance, friendship. So picture the scene. A lonely girl in her own little room. She has no date, and it's Saturday night. Hi. So you want to make a friend?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, now, come on, you'll have to speak up louder than that. Do you?
Yes, I do.
Good, that's fine. Well, I'm your friend, and my name is Herman.
Hello, Herman.
Hello. Good. We're getting along just fine. And what's your name?
Sheila.
Oh, that's a nice name.
No, it isn't. It's a terrible name.
I'm sure they do. Tell me, where do you work?
I work in the store, down at the corner.
Oh, that's a nice job.
Well, it isn't really, you see, because I'm just the checkout
That's
girl.
very interesting.
Well, no, it isn't interesting. It's dull. It's awful.
And how are you today?
I'm fine.
Oh, that's too bad.
No, I said I was fine. Really, I'm fine.
Well, it's probably nothing more than a slight chill.
Oh, well, if you say so.
And what have you been doing this evening?
Nothing.
Uh-huh. And was it a good film?
Well, no, you see, I didn't go to a film. I just sort of stayed
Yes, I know. Some of these Italian films are a bit overrated.
Yes, I'm sure they are, but you see, I didn't go to a film.
Was he? Well, now, he's usually a very good actor. Wait a minute, what was the name of the film he was in?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one. He's terrific. Hey, I know what we'll do. Let's tell some jokes. Do you know any jokes?
No.
I knew you would. Go ahead.
Well, let me see. Yes, I did know one
No,
once.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
No, you see, I'm not sure if I can remember it. Now, let me see if I can remember
Oh, boy, that's a good start.
Yeah.
I like that kind of joke.
Yeah, I always start that way. Now, let me see. How did it go? Oh, yeah, I know. This man had to meet a friend of his, you see. So he went down to the corner of the street. And now, when he got there, the friend wasn't there, you see. So he thought he would go into a bar. So he found the nearest bar, and he went in and he said to the barman...
Oh, boy, that's a terrific joke. And you tell it so well.
Yeah, but I haven't told it yet.
You know, you're awfully pretty when you laugh.
Oh. Really?
Oh, yes, you know, you're a very attractive person. Oh, you are, you really are. You're very attractive. And you have lovely hair.
Oh, really? Do you like my hair?
Oh, I do, I really do. Long blonde hair is my favorite color. And listen, I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
Now listen, you must never believe you have no friends. You understand that? Because a beautiful and sweet and kind person like yourself can always make a lot of good friends. If you try. But you have to be prepared to try. I mean, look how well we have been getting along, and we've only just met.
Yes, but you're different.
And everyone's the same. You see, we all need to make friends, don't we, huh? We all need friends.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean ordinary friends, I mean real friendly friends. Real friends. Friends you can feel close to.
Well, I do feel close to you.
Good. And that's the way it should be. You see, there's not enough real friendship. Everybody needs friends. Friends whom they can feel close to. Friends whom they can rely on to. Rely on to. Rely on to. Rely on to. Rely on to.
If there's one thing we're violent about, it's peace. And if you're not the same, no doubt you haven't read all the slogans about you.
Strike a blow for peace.
Wage a war for peace.
Smash a head for peace.
Knock 'em dead for peace.
Gotta stamp out hate.
Stand with all your might. So if you want peace, better stand up and fight. And it was just the same in ancient Greece. Back when Greece was an olive ranch.
No two gods ever seemed to click.
And extending the olive branch meant carrying a big stick.
First some war gods,
then more gods destroyed Grecian farms, till a goddess named Venus wrote farewell to arms. She wanted peace, 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 of course. And they cried in Greece a shrine to peace. How about a nice Trojan horse? History tells of the corporal who became emperor one day.
Though he's called Little Corporal, a little goes a long way.
Said to all of the crowned heads, what boneheads thou art, and in manner disarming took each bone apart. He wanted peace, 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 he pled, and he took a piece of Austria and Italy and Africa and Spain to prove he meant what he said. Now today we have confidence we could win peace within a week. Yet at every peace conference we get so mad we can't speak. Lost our heads at the summit, saw red we confess. We were even a failure at Lake Success. But now with hydrogen, nitrogen, missiles can increase. So let's do one last big bang up job, and we shall all rest in peace.
Well, you see, the thing is, my husband, Mr. Potter here, and I have come to you because we're having what you might call marital difficulties.
Yes, well, that's what I'm here for.
Yes. You see, we should hate to have to end up in the divorce court.
Well, I shouldn't like that either.
What?
Seeing you in the divorce court.
Oh, no, that's what I said to him. That's what I said to my Harold. That's why we've come here to see you.
Yes, yes. Well, now, what sort of marital problems have you been having?
Well, personal mostly.
Yes, in what way?
Well, we don't really like to talk about them, really. Not in front of strangers, like.
No, I can quite understand that. Tell me, Mrs. Potter, how long have you been married?
What, to him?
Oh, I see you were married before, were you?
No, he's my only time. Must be, nearly 20 years now.
20 years? Well, you've certainly taken your time getting here.
Yes, well, we live across town, so...
Well, no, I meant, I was meaning... have you any children?
No, neither of us has children.
Oh, Mr. Potter was married previously, was he?
What?
Well, you said that neither of you had children, so I naturally assumed that Mr. Potter had been previously married. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't... Maybe you would. Well, now, Mrs. Potter, about your problem.
Problems.
Problems.
Yes. Well, like I said before, they're personal mostly, and we really don't like to talk about them.
No, I can quite understand that, Mrs. Potter, but you must try and look upon me as a good friend. I mean, that is why you have come to me, isn't it? To air everything, to get everything out into the open. That's why you're here.
Yes, that's why we've come to you.
Mrs. Potter, perhaps I can help you by breaking the ice a little on this occasion. Would you say that these problems of yours were sexual in nature?
Good gracious me, no. What do you think we are, a pair of miniskirts or something?
Well, good. I'm very glad to hear that. I must say that...
We sleep in the same room, if that's what you mean.
Yes, basically, yes.
We have our own beds.
Uh-huh.
We have no problems when we're asleep.
No,
it's when we're awake.
Yes, I rather imagine it would... Look, Mrs. Potter, I'm really not able to help you very much unless you're prepared to open up to me.
What?
Unless, how shall I put it? Unless you're prepared to make a clean... unless you are prepared to tell me more about the details of your case, then I'm really not able to help you. I mean, madam, I'm not a mind reader.
You're a guidance counsellor for marital difficulties.
Yes.
I mean, why should we take our marital difficulties to a mind reader?
Yeah. But why? Yes, why? Look, Mrs. Potter, the very best way is if you imagine that I am a good friend of yours. A confidant, if you like. Oh. And you are simply telling me all about it, all right? Just as you would a friend, a good friend, okay? So you just go ahead and just tell me all about it.
Well?
Yes?
You might say our problems are manifold.
Manifold?
Yes, that's the word for it, isn't it, Harold? Manifold.
Well, in what way manifold?
Well, in every way, that's why they're manifold. We looked it up, didn't we, dear?
Mrs. Potter, I must have more information.
I mean, now, look.
Yes.
Let me give you a for instance.
Yes, please. Yes.
Now, for instance.
Yes.
We differ in many things,
Really?
you see. Yes. Now, take food, for instance.
Food?
Yes. Now, every night when Harold comes home, I cook fish.
Mm-hmm.
But he won't eat it.
Oh.
No, it makes him throw up.
Oh, really?
Even the smell of fish cooking makes him throw up. I just get bleeding sick of him throwing up all the time.
Yes. Well, Mrs. Potter, why don't you give him something else to eat?
What?
Well, I don't know, like meat, for instance.
Oh, I can't stand meat, no, especially cooked meat. Makes me throw up.
Well, have you ever thought of salads?
What?
Salads, it's a perfectly simple solution. You have one salad, you see, and then if you want fish, you have something like sardine. Harold there has cold meat, same salad.
Oh, that's a good idea. That is a good idea, isn't it, Harold? Oh, yes, aren't you glad we come here, dear? Yes, oh, we'll end up out the divorce court yet.
Well, really, Mrs. Potter, that was no problem to bring to me.
Course, food. That's only scratching the surface.
There are other areas
Oh,
of...
yes. I mean, for instance, take pronunciation.
Pronunciation?
Yes, we say words different.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, for instance, I'll say tomato and he'll say tomato.
Yeah, and I bet he says potato and you say potato.
Basically, yes.
Mrs. Potter, this is a very simple problem. All you have to do is to choose other words that you do not mispronounce. I mean, instead of potato or potato, you could easily say spud.
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 Yes, I like that. We could say spud.
Spud.
Yes, Harold, for potato, we could say spud.
That's right.
And for tomato, we could say mud.
No, Mrs. Potter, no. You see, spud means potato. Mud doesn't mean... all right. In place of tomato or tomato, you could say red pulpy vegetable.
Red pulpy vegetable, yes. We could say red pulpy vegetable, Harold. We could have a nice red pulpy vegetable salad, yes.
Well, you see, Mrs. Potter, there's really no problem there. It's so easily solved by compromise, and this is true of most of the problems that come before me. I firmly believe, you know, after years as a marriage counselor, that if you are prepared to compromise in marriage, you have no problems.
Oh, well, we got no problems anyway. You've just solved them all, and we're forever grateful.
I'm very glad to hear that, Mrs. Potter, but I must just say one thing. I've only heard your side of this entire question. I've heard nothing yet from Mr. Potter. Now, there are two sides to every question. I feel it is important that I should hear his side of this issue. So, if you don't mind. Now, Mr. Potter, you have heard everything we've been saying. Would you say that I had solved all your problems, too?
Well, you know, I've been thinking.
Yes.
For a man, you have beautifully formed lips.
There has been a lot of criticism lately about lack of culture in commercial television. Tonight, we would like you to imagine the way certain well-known commercials would be if they had been written by such famous composers as Bach, Mozart, Verdi, or Schoenberg. And now here, first of all, Mozart.
On this evening divine, let our happiness entwine and rejoice in the joy of our meeting.
Oh, sir, you're too bold, and my mistress will scold if you kiss me.
Ah, come kiss me. What's this between?
Something unseen.
I would dearly love to kiss her, but afraid my lips would miss her. I would dearly love to kiss her, but afraid my lips would miss her. I'm afraid my lips will miss. She uses Solgate.
Solgate toothpaste.
Uses Solgate.
Solgate toothpaste.
Uses Solgate. That was the king of confidence. The king of confidence. The king of confidence. Waist I place my arms, and ere I taste thy wanton charms, I'll drink Zipsy-Cola, my thirst consoler. Thus we'll ignore the night's alarms.
If falls the night, I thirst for thee.
Zipsy-Cola.
If fails the light, I thirst for thee.
Zipsy-Cola.
And I'll drink a bowl
of Zipsy-Cola.
Zipsy-Cola. And I do my worst to thee.
Worst to thee. I'll drink a bowl of Zipsy-Cola. Bowl of Zipsy-Cola.
And I do my worst to thee. My worst to thee.
That brings us to the end of the commercials, and now back to the main show. And now we take you to a Sinatra recording session. So if you will all kindly turn east and face Decca.
We're Sinatra and his daughter. We done something that we ought to be ashamed of now. A record we have made is climbing up the hit parade, and we're acclaimed of now. But all we do is sing like this, and on we go without a bit of sense. Which goes to show that all you do is just sing something stupid and they'll love you. We sound as if we couldn't give a damn, and what is more, we wouldn't crack a smile. Our voices just go on, and soon you think you'll listen for a long, long while. Nancy cannot sing so well, so Daddy helps his daughter make her record sell. Which goes to show that all you do is just sing something stupid and they'll love you. All you can hear are our voices singing in close harmony. And what we are singing about is never heard. So long as it's Frankie and Nancy, the record fans will buy the disc. For all that you know, the words could be quite absurd. Like this: I think I got a tummy ache. It must be all that chocolate cake we had for tea. The Eiffel Tower is falling flat. I toured a putty-tat with Marshall Key. And so you see, the words don't seem to matter if we sing them in close harmony. Which goes to show that all you do is just sing something stupid and they'll love you.
It's so easy.
They'll love you, and so boring. They'll love you.
Our thanks there to the Newsline team. This is Radio Netherlands, the Dutch International Service. My name's Jonathan Marks, and I'm here to host another instalment of our series entitled Saturday Stage. Today we turn to the field of cabaret. I personally think it's a pity that a lot of the Dutch cabaret is only recorded in the Dutch language, so we can't play it on the English service of Radio Netherlands. Even though Holland is geographically close to Britain, there are differences in the sense of humour, although they're not as vast as if you drive an hour east of here over the German border. I've been listening to some of the sketches recorded in the 1970s and early 80s by the Dutch cabaretier Paul van Vliet, born in The Hague. His grandfather was a member of the Dutch Parliament. His grandmother, Grietje Grimm, was a direct descendant of the brothers Grimm. And his father was a drawing teacher and puppeteer. With that background, he dabbled in journalism, was drafted into the Dutch army, studied law, and then went onto the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present A Dutch Street by the Lex Jasper Quartet and Paul van Vliet. There are places that are sunny, there are places that are quaint, there are places that are funny, and a lot of them that ain't. But there's one place in your folder, only one that gets you here. It's the land of Dyke and Polder, of great virtues and good cheer. Come to Holland, Come to Holland. It's as flat and as even as Twiggy in her teens. Come to Holland. Come to Holland. It's so densely populated, you keep thinking of sardines. Come to Holland. Come to Holland. Where the people all speak English fluently. Hear the story of our seagoing tradition. We're so crowded that we have to go to sea. See our red and ruddy faces. See the dimple in our chin. See our cows with so much milk that the people turn to gin. Feel the muscles on our women, all from pedaling their bikes. And see our fingers that are swollen, all from plugging up our dikes. Come to Holland. Come to Holland. There's culture in the air, in the faces, in the names. Come to Holland. Come to Holland. Where a lot of people look as if they ought to be in frames. Come to Holland. Come to Holland. Where you still see Rembrandt's mother take a nap. And when you go round the corner in a streetcar, a Rubens woman may fall plump into your lap. In this country of canals, you are not safe without a boat. Be as clever as the Dutch, wear wooden shoes to stay afloat. And be sure to make your memories as vivid as you can. Buy a souvenir from Holland, made in Hong Kong or Japan. Come to Holland. Come to Holland, where it's heaven for the British to feel a London smog again. Come to Holland, yeah, come to Holland, where the masochists assemble to suffer from the rain. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where even the girl guides are gay. A fat land of milk and of honey, unless you forget to bring money. Where the hearts of the people are as big as the country is small. Come to Holland, come to Holland, but it may take one whole day to see it all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul van Vliet. Paul is Paul. Van is not like Van, but Van like the Germans count. 1, 2, 3. And Vliet is what the British used to have before the Falkland War. So, Paul van Vliet. But what's in the name? Who said that? Shakespeare. Very good. William Shakespeare. That's why I like to quote well-known authors. It makes the audience feel so intelligent. But Shakespeare was wrong. There is a lot in the name. The character of a nation can be found in the sound of the names of heads of state and prime ministers. Ronald Reagan.
Margaret Thatcher.
Helmut Kohl. François Mitterrand et alors Le Bourse. And in my passport it says Paul van Vliet Cabaretier. Cabaretier, of course, it comes from the French word cabaret, which started, believe it or not, years and years before Liza Minnelli was born. Cabaret, traditional theater. In America, there were the golden days of vaudeville, in England, music hall. And we on the continent, we had cabaret, which has all but disappeared except here in Holland, because as a small country of merchants and traders, we've always had to be very careful with our money. Careful. Some of our jealous neighbors say we are stingy, even miserly. For instance, the Belgians. The Belgians like to tell insulting jokes about us, and we like to tell insulting jokes about the Belgians, which isn't so nice for us because we understand the jokes. But we are not stingy. We are just very, very careful, which is why cabaret still thrives in Holland as a one-man show. So let's go Dutch. A Dutch street, the truth behind the dikes. And I intend to tell you tonight the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I was born and bred in The Hague, the seat of the government. Amsterdam's the capital, The Hague is the seat of the government. There's a world between both cities, 40 miles. So you see, we do not govern our country from the capital, and Amsterdam would be a bad place for a government anyway, because it's full of revolutionaries who'd love to overthrow the government. But you know, basically, they are lazy revolutionaries. They'd love to overthrow the government, but they don't want to walk 40 miles to do so. And they're all followers of Karl Marx, so they know that the state will wither away by itself, and they don't want to interfere with the process. You've heard of Karl Marx, of course. Karl Marx, who wrote that wonderful book about Amsterdam, the capital. Tell him, yeah, yeah. Amsterdam is a city where it happens, and The Hague is a city where they try to stop it. You know, The Hague is an elderly lady. The Hague is too old to be gay, too old to be naughty, too old to be shady. The Hague is as wild as the YMCA. Filled to the brim with civil servants, too many for such a small country. Well, that's what we are, a small country, especially in the eyes of visitors from larger countries like Denmark, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Have you heard of the miniature town, Madurodam? Madurodam, the miniature town, we put it up because it makes the surrounding country look bigger. When the plans were drawn up for Madurodam, we knew that we had to have American know-how. So we found a New York firm, told them about a project of Madurodam. They sent over 2 engineers. They landed in Amsterdam, looked around and said, so, they've started without us. Small country. A small country. And on top of that, we're overpopulated. Do you know why swimming is a national sport in Holland? We have to take turns using the land. Have you seen people swimming during the day? That's a night shift. By the way, some of you may have noticed that I'm doing the show in English. But you know, the problem for a Dutchman is always what to speak. English or American English. We learn English at school, that is to say, British English. But many of the Dutch people you meet speak American English due to the influence of American records, American movies, and McDonald's. And of course, American English is much easier for us. Take that well-known Sinatra hit. It's 2:45. No one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I got a little story you ought to know. Now, if this song had been written in English, it would go like, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2:45 precisely by my watch. The establishment is quite deserted, no one but you and I remain. So if it's not too much of an inconvenience, would you be so kind as to replenish my glass, Joseph? A curious thing has happened to me recently, and although I fully realize it's a very presumptuous imposition on my part, still I'd rather hope to be allowed the opportunity to discuss it with you at some length. You know, the very first English I ever learned was this highly dramatic poem. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle, and here's my spout. When the tea is ready, hear me shout. Lift me up and pour me out. Now, for years and years, this was the only English I knew. And you can imagine how difficult it is to work this into a normal conversation. One summer, a band friend of my sister came to stay with us, Anne Pulford, Colchester, Essex, England. And Anne was beautiful and I was 14. And every time I looked at her, I got goose pimples. So I knew I was in love. And one night I couldn't control myself any longer. I got out of bed, tiptoed across the hall, eased her door open, and there she lay. Anne Pulford, a girl of 13, bathed in moonlight. And there I stood, bathed in my father's aftershave. And I'm a little teapot. Short and stout. Here's my handle. And just as I was getting to my spout, my father came in and kicked me out. Little girls with legs that go on growing, bodies that keep bumping into things, not exactly knowing where they're going, but somehow someone somewhere pulls the strings. Have to wear the hand-me-downs that sisters used to wear, have to live with mothers that want ribbons in their hair. Hate to go to summer camps, but daddies don't agree. So 80 little girls there are as lonely as can be. Girls of 13, not very happy. Girls of 13, just in between. Too old for the dolls, too old for the toys, too little for love, too young for the boys. Their pug noses still are too red and too shiny. The diary they keep to confide in are tiny. Tiny are most of the troubles they've seen. Girls of 13, just in between. Faces that are delicate and dreamy, hair that offers little hope for curls, feeling very feminine and special, want to stick together, just the girls. Giggling at movie stars, giggling at men, giggling at breakfast, still giggling at 10, giggling at each other and their own bewildering ways, giggling to pass the time until the better days. Girls of 13, not very happy. Girls of 13, just in between. Too old for the dolls, too old for the toys, too little for love, too young for the boys. Just halfway woman, just halfway in blue, a dress with a neckline, but plenty of room. Girls of 13, just in between, dreaming of the day they start life at 14. And now introducing Bob Johnson, a bicentennial pioneer, Philadelphia, USA. Not for him to see 22 countries in 14 days, $1,000 all-inclusive type of holiday. No, he wants to get the feel of Europe by himself. So with one wife, 2 children, 4 thermos flasks, 6 suitcases, 8 cartons of Lucky Strikes, 10 boxes of double bubble chewing gum, 12 family-sized packs of super soft toilet rolls, 14 bottles of assorted vitamins, and a 1-ear teddy bear, he arrives at Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam, on a rainy Tuesday morning in July, on a 2-hour late all-inclusive jet lag plus hangover charter flight. Exhausted yet eager to begin his first European adventure. Finally, through customs without losing anything or anyone, the Johnson family make their way to the Hertz counter, where accompanied by many highs, have a nice days and goodbyes. They're taken and bundled into a gleaming Peugeot 604 automatic, along with maps of absolutely everywhere and a free copy of Europe on $200 a day. Because their final destination is a little resort on the Spanish Gold Coast that costs a lot of money. Where they are to join up with friends from back home in 3 days' time. Bob Johnson has pre-booked adjoining rooms at Le Chapeau Rouge Hotel in Avalon. Avalon between Paris and Lyon. Avalon, their target for day one of their vacation. But the plane was 2 hours late, so now the schedule is changed from loose to tight. He knows that if he doesn't make it to the hotel before 8 p.m., the rooms will be auctioned off to the highest bidder. So sweating, tired but determined, he slams the gears into reverse, and bang! 1 hour later, after many apologies, the race is on. And they're out of Amsterdam, heading south in a fantastic burst of energy, and shoo, there goes Belgium. And they're across the French border, moving faster than a speeding bullet. After seeing the outskirts of Paris 3 times and being stopped by the same cop twice, they are finally on their way to Avalon, and tension is mounting. It's 5 p.m. Bob and his wife have finally run out of threats and promises. Empty Coke cans are rattling around on the floor and in Bob's head. Pieces of comic books are flying like confetti everywhere, and the windows are covered with double bubbles that didn't make it. But Bob's not a quitter. Gritting his teeth, he stamps his foot down through the floor, and at 10 to 8, he's in Avalon. At 5 to 8, he's in the center. At 2 to 8, he sees a sign for the Chapeau Rouge Hotel. God, this is exciting. Will he make it, folks? Go, Bob, go. No, that's the wrong way. Yes, he's found it. He's swerving up the driveway, spraying gravel everywhere. Oh, no, the car's out of control. Will he be all right? What the climax, ladies and gentlemen, what the climax. Yes, he is all right. He's climbing out of the car. He is on his feet, up the hotel steps, limping towards the desk, and with a final superhuman effort, he manages to hit the bell. Now wait for it. 1 minute to 8. He made it, folks. What a guy. Give him a big hand. Bob Johnson, what a guy. And with heaving chest and a triumphant smile on his face, he comes to attention, salutes the desk clerk, and blurts out the one French line he has been secretly practicing for over the last 3 months. Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Johnson.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Johnson.
Comment?
Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Johnson. J'ai téléphoné pour chambres.
Chambre, je regrette infiniment, monsieur. Je suis complet, plus de chambre, complet.
Bonjour, monsieur. Je suis Johnson. J'ai téléphoné pour réserver.
Donc, vous avez réservé sur le nom de Johnson?
Oui, merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Quoi donc? Monsieur Johnson, il est déjà arrivé. Il est dans sa chambre.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Non, monsieur Johnson est déjà arrivé. Il est dans sa chambre. On his room.
Oh, I'm not in my room. I'm here.
Oui, vous êtes là. Ne bougez pas.
Oh, excuse me, monsieur. Peut-être another Johnson. Autre Johnson.
Où ça, autre Johnson?
Well, in America, many Johnson.
Combien?
Well, beaucoup, monsieur. For instance, Lyndon B. Johnson, président.
Vous êtes le président?
No, I'm not a president. Lyndon B. Johnson, autrefois président, but he is dead. Boom.
Il est mort, votre président?
Yes, il est mort.
Ah, mes condoléances, monsieur.
No, you don't understand. It's already a long time ago. Il est mort à 6 ans.
Il est mort à 6 ans? C'est bien jeune, hein?
No, listen, monsieur, you don't understand. In America, many Johnsons. Also, Johnson wax.
Wax?
Yeah, wax pour la voiture, wax.
Donc, vous avez la voiture ici?
Yes, we have the voiture. It's on the parking.
Écoutez, monsieur, le parking est strictement réservé pour ceux qui ont chambre à l'hôtel.
Yeah, but I have a chambre in hotel. Je suis Johnson. J'ai téléphoné pour réserver.
Monsieur, je suis complet. Room, Timonique, Mir, Voll, House, Finito, complet.
Listen, monsieur, it's a bit difficult pour...
Ah, je comprends. Vous voulez le dîner, manger, dinner?
Non, nous mangeons déjà chez Jacques Brel.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
nous mangez déjà chez Jacques Brel.
Faites attention, monsieur, faites attention. Jacques Brel, un chanteur formidable. Mais il est mort, Jacques Brel, il est mort.
Oui, c'est la vie. Oh, excuse me, I mean the road restaurant, Jacques Borel.
Jacques Borel? Mais écoutez, monsieur, on ne mange pas chez Jacques Borel. C'est du snack. C'est très mauvais pour l'estomac.
Oui, mais nous mangez vite.
C'est encore plus mauvais. Pour bien manger, il faut prendre son temps.
Yes, but nous, no temps être ici à 8 heures.
À 8 heures? Et maintenant, c'est 8h30, hein?
Yes, but we were here at 8 o'clock at 8 heures, et nous sommes très fatigants, and my wife is malade.
Naturellement, Jacques Borel.
And I'm also malade. My kids are malade, too.
Donc, toute la famille est malade?
Yes, the whole family is malade.
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Ah, bonsoir, ici Henri Dupont du Chapeau Rouge. Passez-moi le docteur Pouillac, s'il vous plaît. Merci. Ah, bonsoir, monsieur le docteur. Ici Henri Dupont du Chapeau Rouge. Oui, ça va très bien, je suis complet. Et vous? Ah, très bien. Écoutez, monsieur le docteur, il y a un Américain ici avec toute sa famille et ils sont tous malades. Est-ce que vous auriez 4 lits à l'hôpital? Ça va? Quel nom? Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Johnson. Oui, il serait tout de suite. Merci. Bonsoir, monsieur le docteur. Bonsoir. Donc, j'ai réservé à l'hôpital 4 lits pour vous.
Well, merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Et l'hôpital, vous sortez du Chapeau Rouge à la rue Victor Hugo. La deuxième à droite, l'avenue de la Victoire. La deuxième à gauche, le boulevard Charles de Gaulle. Ensuite, la grande place, la place de la République. Vous traversez la place de la République. La deuxième à droite, l'avenue de la Liberté. La deuxième à gauche, le boulevard Napoléon. Ensuite, au rond-point, le rond-point du Camembert. Ensuite, une grande route, la route de France. Et tout le bout de cette route, vous voyez un grand bâtiment, l'hôpital, le Chapeau Blanc.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you no more. After all, I'm not worthy. I'm only doing my duty as any other member of the European Parliament should gladly do, but fortunately doesn't. I'm not standing here before you because I'm a better man than you, nor am I standing here before you because I'm a wiser man than you. I'm standing here before you because windsurfers, comedians, and politicians do it standing up. Just let me say that I'm the bearer of good tidings from your parliament in Strasbourg. After spending 5 years and $50 million on an extensive survey, my subcommittee can now state definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, and in no uncertain terms, that humans throughout Europe are having more affairs now than ever before. And I'd like you to remember that your affairs are my affairs. Or as the French put it, les petits amis de mes amis sont mes petits amis. Roughly translated for the barbarians among you who don't understand the language of diplomacy, my friends' girlfriends are my girlfriends. That's why I'm proud of my countrymen for learning foreign languages. The advantage to human relations are obvious. After all, where's the satisfaction in telling a bloody foreigner to get stuffed if he doesn't understand you? Yes, there is a lot to be said for national pride. After all, where would we politicians be without it? The Belgians still have it, even though they've got to look it up in the dictionary. And take England, as we did. Several hundred years ago, a great country, very well known here. It's shown on Dutch television every night as the place where the bad weather comes from. And we have many historic ties too. We fought some great wars, didn't we? But afterwards we always kissed and made up. And that was always our victory, because who likes to kiss people with a stiff upper lip? And then they had the Dutch king, remember? Yes, William III, very good. William III. It took us 3 Williams to get the British interested. And who shall remember those historic words, uttered full of fevered emotion, spoken as William first sunk foot in British bark? Potverdomme, wat is dit voor klotenland? And to the everlasting gratitude of the Dutch people, he gave England back, got on the Queen Mary cast off, and sailed home to Holland on the Queen Elizabeth. And while we forget Germany, let's not forget France. France, the French cuisine. It may surprise you to learn, my friends, that I became an international gourmet long before I bought a chateau. Yes, as a politician, one learns that the eating habits of a nation relate directly to that nation's political outlook. For instance, in a South African cookbook, the first recipe begins, take 2 eggs, whites only. While the Russian cookbook begins, take 1 egg, but don't get caught. From Japan we read, kill a dead fish and eat it raw in a pre-warmed oven. American cookbooks are prefaced by the words, take the telephone and the yellow pages and order a take-out dinner. The Belgian cookbook has an introduction, first find the kitchen. A German cookbook tells you take as many eggs as you need to work an 18-hour day. Because they are hard-working people, the Germans. When you buy a new shirt in Germany, it comes with the sleeves already rolled up. Hard-working and successful, too. In fact, Germany was so successful that we have 2 Germanys now. They have their finest hour when the 2 countries play soccer together. Germany never loses. But what we are fighting for is peace, not war. What we are fighting for is love and friendship. And Holland was the first country in the world to sign a treaty of commerce and amity with the young United States more than 200 years ago. And you will notice that in this treaty we have commerce first and amity comes next. Sometimes it must be hard being an American. Lots of jealous countries letting you down. But sometimes it must be great to be an American. You wake up in the morning and you know there is something nice, but what is it? Ah, yes, we still have relations with the Dutch.
Well, doesn't matter where you're listening to this. I hope you enjoyed the last half hour's dip into the archives, featuring selected sketches from Dutch cabaretier Paul van Vliet. And some of those sketches dated way back to 1973, and yet I think you'd still agree with me that they're relevant today, 19 years later. Join me next week for more humour in the continuing series Saturday Stage. Our thanks there to the Newsline team, and this is Jonathan Marks with a warm welcome to our series Saturday Stage. If you listened last week, you'll have heard selected sketches and songs from the Dutch cabaret artist Paul van Vliet. Judging by the reaction on our answer line, you clearly like his sense of humour. Tonight we've got another half-hour compilation of his presentation, The Truth Behind the Dykes. We've made a montage from several shows given in the 1970s and 80s. Actually, we hope you'll agree that many of the topics are still in the news, so for all intents and purposes, the following performance could be live.
There are places that are sunny, there are places that are quaint, there are places that are funny, and a lot of them that ain't. But there's one place in your folder, only one that gets you here. It's the land of Dyke and Polder, of great virtues and good cheer. Come to Holland, come to Holland. It's as flat and as even as Twiggy and her teens. Come to Holland, come to Holland. It's so densely populated, you keep thinking of sardines. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where the people all speak English fluently. Hear the story of our seagoing tradition. We're so crowded that we have to go to sea.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you no more. After all, I'm not worthy. I'm only doing my duty as any other member of the European Parliament should gladly do, but fortunately doesn't. 200 years ago, we had John Adams here in Holland. We trained him, sent him back to the United States, and he became president. And then his son, John Quincy Adams, lived in Holland. We trained him, sent him back, and he became president of the United States. And that's the great thing about President Ronald Reagan. He did it without our help. Incredible man. His friends still can't believe it. They call him Dutch. It took some time, but you took it all right. Let me say this. What we are fighting for is a free world. A world where people do not know the word defeat. And I'm, of course, referring to the French who do not know the meaning of any English word. And inflation, we must fight inflation. Remember how we used to sing, three coins in a fountain. I ask you, my friends, what fountain could live on that today? In a fountain. And we must fight unemployment. And unemployment will only be solved when the unemployed simply go back to work. And energy, we must conserve energy and do it drastically. If necessary, close Canada for the winter. And saving energy is all the more important because it's also the key to birth control. Think of the Chinese. Already every fourth child born on earth is Chinese. No wonder people in Europe stop after having 3 children. And finally, at last, in conclusion and to sum up, let me leave you with this. The most burning question of today is, will God destroy us or will we beat him to it? In any case, we know that when the end comes, we shall all die singing. And why shall we all die singing? Because it's much easier to die singing than to die playing the piano.
I sometimes feel a stranger in the house I call my own. This body that I know belongs to me. And more it seems to be a house that I've outgrown. Another me that I don't want to see. I wander into rooms I didn't realize were mine.
through hallways I never knew were there. So many unfamiliar things I've never seen before. I wonder who has left them in my care. Where does it come from what I see? Where does it come from what I feel? This chill I feel surrounding me with fear. Why is this coldness in my heart? Why is this grayness in my mood? The sadness in the echoes that I hear. I sometimes feel a stranger in the house I call my own. This body that I know belongs to me. For suddenly it's gone, the only house I've ever known, the shadow of the hope that used to be. And lately I've been wondering what happened to those days of trusting and believing in myself. The heart and soul of yesterdays have gone their separate ways. My spirit gathers dust upon the shelf. Where is that house so full of hope? Where are the dreams I dare to dream? The vision that used to shine so clear. Where is that special inner light? Where? Now I'm lost inside the night. Where has it gone now that I need it here? I have to build it up again, the house I call my own, and make it once again belong to me. I wonder if you'd help me. I can do this all alone. You know so well the way it used to be. With you I'm not a stranger in the house that I once knew, this house that I no longer call my own. And with you there beside me I could face a different view, and you could make this empty house a home.
Daggers buried in my breast, a vile crime that cannot be. Behold the murder of a king, and unfortunately that's me. It was my son who slayed with lust his father and provider, his face distorted with disgust, and I never liked him either. He chose his dagger with great care, he never do the wrong one. It went in here, came out there. It was a very long one. Sharp as iron ever cast. And believe me, I can tell, 'cause when in pain I clasped my breast, I cut my hand as well. The murder fled, his hollow laugh fair chilled me to the bone. And with the musty breath of death, he left me here alone. The scene in which I die begins, and for the author's sake, try not to cough until it's done. Please give a king a break. My forces fail, my vision clouds. I weaken while I'm walking. My faculties go one by one, but thank God I'm still talking. The author wanted to excel in telling of my fall.
Full 15 pages just to die, and I'm gonna do them all. My eyes protrude, my cheeks are grey, I reach out for support. I groan as I am breathing in, and breathing out, I snort. Give me 5 minutes more, only 5 minutes more. Let me stay, let me stay. Give me 5 minutes more, only 5 minutes more. Let me stay, let me stay. Hey, you're on! My humble servants fill the room, approach and bend their knee. They sense this is a special night, and then the drinks are free. A man throws ashes on his head, a soldier bites his pike. A woman tears her clothes to rags. She knows that's what I like. I gather round, I bless them all, men, women of all ages. And rattling and gurgling, I speak my 15 pages. My breathing is getting heavier, my heartbeat getting slow. And yet the end is not in sight, 3 minutes still to go. We all know that this moment calls for great things to be said. And though I'll say them right on stage, I'd rather be in bed. But no great ruler, king or chief of whom we've ever heard would think of taking leave of life without a final word. A maxim to be learned by heart, a word for east and west. A saying that can be tattooed upon a sailor's chest. A final phrase, closing word, in Latin or in Greek. A message for the calendar, a motto for the week. And here's that piece of wisdom, make use of it somehow. Old soldiers never, never die. So join the army now. Stop! Stop! Stop, wait! Stop, wait! Don't let the lights go down! Hold fast, don't go away. There's something very personal that I forgot to say. There's a collection box out there. I draw to your attention. It's something that I have to do. My widow has no pension. And ask for an encore, then as your humble servant, I'll gladly die once more. Ow! So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken between us, you and I. We'd lie and wait for sleep to come and think of all we left undone between us, you and I. Times we should have talked it out when truth was hidden by the doubt and distance rode a roundabout between us, you you and I. So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken, bottled up and sad to say, soothed and sweetly kissed away, left until another day, between us, you and I. So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken, between us, you and I. The memory hidden deep inside of silent passion we denied ourselves, both you and I. All the stones we left unturned, all the bridges that we burned, questions with no answers learned, between us, you and I. So many things have not been said, so many words have not been spoken, thought about but never said, cancelled or postponed instead, waved aside and left for dead, between us, you and I. Bottled up and sad to say, soothed and sweetly kissed away, left until another day, between us, you and I. Times we should have talked it out, when truth was hidden by the doubt, and distance rode a roundabout, between us, you and I. All the stones we left unturned, questions with no answers learned, all the bridges that we burned, between us, you and I. Thought about but never said, cancelled or postponed instead, waved aside and left for dead, between us, you and I.
Mind you, once I tried to find some inspiration for a song about Amsterdam, and stepping back to admire one of the beautiful facades, I fell into one of the canals. A tour boat happened to be passing, and instead of helping me, the guide explained my accident in French, English, and German. If ever this happens to you, don't panic, just yell. There's bound to be a sex shop round the corner, and the people will oblige by throwing some of the inflatables. Have you noticed our sex shops? The illustrated literature you'll find there is incredible. Incredible. We are very glad that Denmark joined the common market, because that brought down the price of the magazines. They're all from Copenhagen. And it was Hans Christian Andersen who started it all. With that story of the emperor who had no clothes on. The other day, I happened to be in one of the sex shops. Of course, not for myself. But I have a nephew doing a thesis on the sexual behavior of the Danish lesbian. And I was amazed how many other people have a nephew doing a thesis on the sexual behavior. Amsterdam, city of bars and museums. We have the cultured people, when it rains, they take shelter in a museum. And we have the non-cultured people, when it rains, they take shelter in a bar. And then we have the regular people, they are in a bar whether it rains or not. Oh wait, I forgot one group. They are in a museum when it doesn't rain, called tourists. Queuing up in front of the Rijksmuseum to see Rembrandt's Night Watch. A huge painting. So it's great for groups. And if you don't like the old stuff, we have a brand new Van Gogh museum. No, not Van Gogh, not Van Gogh, Van Gogh. Van Gogh. As children, we gargle 6 times a day to get that sound down. Vincent van Gogh, the famous painter who cut off his left ear.
cut off his left ear and mailed it to a prostitute. And she was very surprised because she didn't need one. And now for your information. This is surprising Amsterdam, a capital of the Netherlands, metropolis of sin, the last of the red-hot cities, where you'll find 500,000 skirt-raising bicycles, 50,000 succulent herrings in the road, 5,000 public conveniences, running into 500 lasciviously winding canals, covered by 50 provokingly curved bridges, leading to 5 museums with 500 scintillating nudes, 4 illuminated baroque towers with phallic steeples, 3 mysterious parks with 30,000 lurking dropouts, 2 railway stations to get the hell out of here, and 1 Olympic football stadium packed to the gills with 100,000 frenzied followers of our soccer champion Ajax, celebrating the new European religion called Holy Cup football.
Come, let us congregate and let us kneel together around the grassy field in honor of the venerated sphere of leather. And let us pray and sing and let it ring out from the cliffs of Dover that we shall win the cup and that our cup will not be merely full, it will run over. Come, blow the trumpets to the glory of the noble game we sing to. For there come rising from their crypt the saints that in these latter days we cling to. They humbly bend their knees and make their genuflections in the most athletic manner. So rattle now your rattle, blow your horn and raise the slogan on your banner. And let us read respectfully the holy writings on the billboards all around us of Shell and Coca-Cola and deodorants for the unholy odors that surround us. And we beseech the blessing for the all-seeing, all-recording eye the TV has planted. For those to whom the fortitude to rise up from their easy chair at home has not been granted. Hear ye the silver instrument with which the high priest will be leading from temptation. Behold the holy sacrament of tossing up before the congregation. So let the silver coin be flipped and grant us all good graces. So we shall have the wisdom for the choice, sun in the rear or in our faces. And let us now compose ourselves and humbly think of winning. The whistle has been blown, the balls departed from a foot, the surface is beginning. Oh, may these precious hours yield us their fruits, may they be joyful and exciting, with kicking shins and pulling hairs and calling names and spitting, pinching, tripping and plain biting. The sanctuary trembles with the mighty pass from number 7. Rejoice and sing a goal. 100,000 throats carry the news on earth and into heaven. We are anointed with the oil of gladness. which accounts for all the shining faces. Now kiss the sacred soil and kiss the ball and kiss the corner flag and kiss each other in the most peculiar place. And let us pray and let us kneel and let us humbly say, so be it. And in a wide procession show the silver cup to all who wish to see it. And give each believer pieces of the garments of the saints, the shirts, the shorts, the socks, and other hallowed clothes, so he may carry them as relics on his breast, the scent of honest sweat fresh in his nose. And let the coach be praised as oracle, as witness of Jehovah, who as a prophet and believer knew it all along, as he is very proud to say now that the game is over. Come cheer and praise the greatest joy that ever was created. A game of twice 3/4 of an hour. The ball is round, a puffed up rubber bladder, and the whole thing is inflated.
One of the things you can be certain of in Holland is bad weather. Yes, it's a rainy country. Not this ridiculous summer, but normally. A rainy country. Every year we have this wet period, which includes winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And at the end of the year, we are all dreaming of a wet Christmas. So-called wet Christmas dream. Yes, it's a rainy country. It rains so often in Holland that when I was young, I thought that rain was a normal thing. I never forget the day the sun came out. I was 12 then. My old grandmother was one of the few citizens who had seen sunshine before, as she was called in by the government to identify it. We have two types of weather, bad and very bad. It's so easy to make the forecast that in Holland weather forecasting counts as unskilled labor. In predicting bad weather you can't go wrong, and if you do, people are so happy that they don't blame you. But all this rain fits in with our reputation of a clean country. For that's what we are. Small country, but, ladies and gentlemen, a clean country. Our housewives scrub and wash and clean from early morning till late afternoon. And in the evening, they all leave the curtains open to show the neighbors the result. I know that some of you foreigners here tonight think that our cleanliness is only on the outside, that we love to wash our cars but hate to wash ourselves. I know that there are some foreigners here tonight who think that we never change our socks. But let me tell you this, we change our socks every morning. The left sock to the right foot.
And when next week you're back to normal in your homeland once again, you're looking at your snapshots that are ruined by the rain. Your luggage that was missing, a computer's fault again, is recovered from a pawn shop in a distant part of Spain. Dream of Holland, think of Holland, though the landmarks of today are American hotels. Dream of Holland, think of Holland, though the windmills made you nervous and you still have dizzy spells. Dream of Holland, think of Holland, though the cheese you bought is coming out your ears. Where the people are all bureaucratic, erratic but so democratic. And even the Queen took her children to school on a bike. And come back to Holland, come back to Holland, before he pulls that finger from the dike.
You've been listening to the talents of Paul van Vliet in our series Saturday Stage here on Radio Netherlands. The title of next week's programme is Back in Holland. Join us then.